The hallway at Westbrook High always sounded like a zoo, right before first period. Lockers slammed, sneakers squeaked across the floor, and someone somewhere was always yelling about homework they forgot to do. I was trying to balance 3 textbooks, my laptop, and a half-finished iced coffee when it happened. Crash. My locker door bounced open at the exact moment I turned around, and I walked straight into it like a cartoon character. My coffee flew one way. My books exploded across the floor. My glasses slid halfway down my nose. For a second, the hallway went weirdly quiet. Then someone laughed. "Wow," a voice said. "That might be the most dramatic entrance I've seen all week." I groaned and crouched down to gather my books. When I looked up, my stomach dropped. Standing right in front of me were the 3 most famous boys in the entire school. Andre Brooks leaned casually against the lockers in his varsity football jacket, flashing the kind of smile that usually made half the girls in school forget how to breathe. Next to him was Tanner Hayes, the billionaire influencer whose Instagram account had more followers than our entire town's population. His hair was perfect. Of course it was. And slightly behind them stood Lucas Carter, the quiet one. Hands in his hoodie pocket, messy dark hair falling over his eyes, watching everything like he was bored with the entire world. They were known around school as the triple threat: rich, popular, untouchable. And right now, they were staring at me. Andre bent down and picked up my notebook. "You okay?" he asked. His voice was smooth, like he practiced it in the mirror. "I'm fine," I muttered, grabbing the notebook. "Just practicing my daily humiliation routine," Tanner chuckled. "That was impressive, though," he said. "You almost took out the entire locker row." Lucas picked up my laptop and handed it to me. Our fingers brushed for a second. He raised an eyebrow. "You should watch where you're going," he said quietly. "Great advice," I said dryly. "Maybe the lockers should too." Andre laughed again, and then something weird happened. Instead of walking away like every other popular kid usually did, they just stayed there looking at me like I was suddenly interesting. Andre tilted his head. "You're Athena, right?" My brain froze. How did he know my name? "Yeah," I said slowly. Tanner smiled. "Cute name, okay?" Something was definitely wrong, because 2 years at Westbrook High had taught me exactly one thing. Guys like them did not talk to girls like me. Not unless it was for homework help or a joke. "Well," I said awkwardly, hugging my books to my chest, "this has been incredibly weird. I'm gonna go now." I slipped past them and walked down the hallway as calmly as possible. The second I turned the corner, I pulled out my phone and texted my best friend. "Athena, you will not believe what just happened." "Maya, did you trip again, Athena?" "Yes, but that's not the point." "Maya, then what, Athena?" The triple threat helped me pick up my books. 3 dots appeared instantly. Then Maya. I stopped lying. I shoved my phone in my pocket and walked into English class. 10 minutes later, Andre Brooks walked in and sat down at the desk next to mine. That had never happened before. Our teacher started explaining Shakespeare while I stared at my notebook, pretending to take notes. Then I heard a whisper. "Athena." I glanced sideways. Andre was leaning closer. "Why'd you come to school with Tanner this morning?" he asked quietly. "I didn't, you sure?" said, "Because guys like him are trouble." I blinked. "You realize you're literally the captain of the football team, right?" He grinned. "Exactly." Before I could reply, the teacher turned around. "Mr. Brooks," she said sharply, "if you have something to share with the class, please do." The room erupted with laughter. Andre raised his hands innocently. "Just discussing Shakespeare, ma'am." "Sure." At lunch, things got even weirder. Tanner Hayes appeared at my table holding 2 milkshakes. "For you," he said, sliding one across the table. My entire lunch table went silent. Maya's mouth dropped open. Across the cafeteria, girls were whispering and staring. I pushed the milkshake back. "No thanks." Tanner blinked. "Why?" "Because I like buying my own food," I said. Lucas suddenly appeared beside him. "Fair enough," he said calmly. Then he looked at me. "You free after school?" I nearly choked on my fries. "Why?" "Study session," he said. I narrowed my eyes. "Since when do you study?" He smirked. "Since today." The entire cafeteria was watching now. I stood up. You guys are really bad at whatever prank this is. Then I grabbed my tray and walked away. Later that week, everything started making even less sense. Andre kept flirting with me. Tanner offered me rides in his ridiculous sports car. Lucas kept appearing wherever I was studying. The tension was exhausting, suspicious, and honestly, a little insulting. One afternoon, I was walking past the boys' locker room when I heard voices inside. Andre, Tanner, Lucas. I slowed down. "Give me 2 days," Andre was saying confidently. "She'll be following me around like a puppy." Tanner scoffed. "No chance. She's already interested in me." Lucas chuckled quietly. "You guys are idiots." 10 million says you're wrong," Tanner replied. My heart stopped. 10 million? Andre laughed. "Deal. First one who makes Athena fall in love wins." My chest tightened, so that was it. A bet. I stood there silently, my hands clenched. For a moment I felt stupid, embarrassed. Then something inside me shifted. Slowly, I smiled. If they wanted to play a game, fine. I pulled out my phone and texted Maya. "Athena, remember how I said something weird was happening?" Maya, "Yeah." I looked back at the locker room door. Then I typed, "Athena, those idiots made a bet to make me fall in love." 3 dots appeared. Maya, WHAT. I slipped my phone into my pocket, a small grin spreading across my face. "Big mistake, boys," I whispered to myself, because they had no idea. The game had just started. I spent the entire weekend plotting. If Andre, Tanner, and Lucas thought they could treat me like some kind of game, then fine, I'd play. But I'd play better. Monday morning, Westbrook High buzzed like usual, students rushing through hallways, lockers slamming, someone blasting music from a phone. But the moment I walked in, I felt it. Its eyes on me. The rumor mill had clearly been working overtime. The triple threat was still after the nerd girl. My phone buzzed in my pocket. "Maya, tell me you have a plan." I smiled and typed back, "Athena, oh, I definitely do." Right on cue, a black sports car rolled up outside the front gate. Tanner stepped out like he was in a movie scene, perfect hair, sunglasses, confident smile. He spotted me instantly. "Morning, Athena," he said. "Need a ride tomorrow? Could pick you up." I tilted my head. "Maybe," I said casually. His eyebrows lifted in surprise. Across the courtyard, Andre jogged over, football tucked under his arm. "Careful," he told Tanner. "You're moving too fast." Then he turned to me with that famous grin. "Athena, you coming to the football game Friday?" I shrugged. "If I'm not busy." Lucas leaned against the brick wall nearby, watching the whole exchange with a quiet smirk. "Good luck, guys," he muttered. The competition was on, and honestly, it was kind of entertaining. Over the next week, the 3 boys tried everything. Andre walked me between classes like I was royalty. He told ridiculous jokes, and somehow convinced half the football team to cheer when I entered the cafeteria. Tanner started showing up at drama rehearsals, claiming he loved theater even though he clearly had no idea what was happening on stage. Lucas was different. He didn't try nearly as hard. Instead, he'd just show up quietly in the library and sit across from me while we studied. Sometimes we barely talked, but somehow those moments felt the most real. Still, I stuck to my plan. Annoy them, confuse them, make them regret the bet. One afternoon, I dragged Lucas to the amusement park and forced him onto the tallest roller coaster. He screamed the entire ride. I laughed so hard I cried. Another day, I convinced Andre to do a romantic gesture during lunch. He jumped on a cafeteria table and dramatically confessed, "I still sleep with a nightlight because I'm afraid of the dark." The entire room exploded with laughter. Even Andre couldn't stop laughing. "Okay," he admitted afterwards, shaking his head. "You're dangerous." But the weird thing was, none of them quit, not even Lucas. And Tanner especially. One evening, Tanner invited me to dinner at his house. I brought my friends to hyperactive cats just to cause chaos. They knocked over decorations, climbed curtains, and ran across the dinner table. I expected Tanner to lose it. Instead, he laughed. His little sisters chased the cats around the house, squealing with joy. Watching him help them clean up afterward, I noticed something I hadn't before. He wasn't pretending. He actually cared about his family. Later that night, as he walked me to the door, he picked up my glasses after I accidentally dropped them. When I put them back on, He was staring at me strangely. "You know," he said softly, "you're really beautiful." My heart skipped. For a second, the bet didn't matter. Then I shook the thought away. Focus. Friday night came faster than I expected. The football stadium lights lit up the entire town. Students packed the bleachers, cheering and waving school banners. I stood near the concession stand with Maya when Andre ran off the field after scoring a touchdown. The crowd roared. He ran straight toward me. "Did you see that?" he asked, breathless. "Hard to miss." I said before he could say anything else. Tanner walked over. "You promised me the next dance at the after party," he said. Lucas appeared behind him. "She never promised that." The tension between them snapped like a rubber band. People around us started whispering. Then Andre laughed awkwardly. "Guys, relax." "No," Tanner said quietly. "We need to talk." They stepped aside, but I followed. "I already know about the bet," I said calmly. All three of them froze. Lucas swore under his breath. Andre rubbed the back of his neck. Tanner just stared at the ground. "So congratulations," I continued. "You all lose." Silence. Then Tanner suddenly pulled a small duffel bag from his car parked nearby, tossed it on the ground. It landed with a heavy thud. "10 million, he said. Andre blinked. "Wait, what?" "I'm done with the bet," Tanner said. "Take the money and walk away." Lucas frowned. "You're serious?" Tanner nodded. "This is not a game." For the first time since this whole mess started, nobody had anything sarcastic to say. Andre slowly grabbed one bag. Lucas picked up another. "Guess the competition's over," Andre said quietly. He walked away without another word. I turned to Tanner. "You didn't have to do that." "Yes, I did." He looked at me with an expression I'd never seen before, completely honest. "I liked you before the bet even started," he said. "I just didn't know how to tell you." My chest tightened. Then he shook his head, messed everything up. He started walking toward the parking lot. "Athena," he said over his shoulder. "You deserve better." The next morning, my mom burst into my room holding her phone. "Athena," she shouted. "What?" "There's $10 million in our bank account." I sat up instantly. "What?" "It says it came from someone named Tanner Hayes." My heart started racing. I rushed to school, but Tanner didn't show up that day. Or the next. 2 weeks passed. Finally, one afternoon, I saw him near the football field. Relief flooded through me. But then I saw the blonde girl wrapped around his arm. They were kissing. My stomach dropped. I marched over and pulled him away. "What was the money for?" I demanded. His face hardened. "I don't know what you're talking about. That's a lie. Just leave it alone, Athena." He walked away with the girl without another word. That night, I drove to his house. His mom let me wait in his room. While I sat there, something caught my eye on his desk. Small silver anklet, mine. The one I lost months ago. The door opened. Tanner froze when he saw me holding it. For a moment, neither of us spoke. Finally, he stepped forward. "I found it the day we first talked," he said quietly. "Why didn't you give it back?" "Because I wanted an excuse to see you again." My throat tightened. "And the money?" I asked. He sighed. "I knew you'd never accept it if I told you. But your mom's been struggling with medical bills." I stared at him. "You gave my family $10 million? I owed you," he said. Silence filled the room. "What?" Then he looked at me with raw honesty. "I tried to forget you," he admitted. "That's why I started dating someone else." He took a shaky breath. But it didn't work. His voice softened. "Athena, I think I've been in love with you since the day you walked into that locker." My heart pounded. I stepped closer. "You're kind of late figuring that out," I said. A small smile tugged at his lips. "So, what now?" I pretended to think for a second. Then I grabbed his collar. "No," I said, "you stop being an idiot," and kissed him. When we finally pulled apart, he laughed quietly. "Can't believe I fell in love with you." I grinned. Too late now.